What's going on, boys and girls? What's up, world? Austin John Plays here, and today I'm going to be going over some crucial information you should know when you start out your adventure in Pokemon Sword or Shield. Welcome to Galar, or Galar. This is a brand new region in the Pokemon universe that has a number of new mechanics and a whole new mindset to be in while playing through. Whether you're about to pick up this game, if you haven't already, if you want to learn more, this video is going to be going over a bunch of useful tips to help you start off your journey in Pokemon Sword or Shield. I'm also going to be going over some really crucial information about the wild area in the beginning of the game and the Pokemon in it. But from the top, first off, your starter. You're welcome to pick whoever you want based on their stats, attitude, appearance, or evolutions. All three are pure typing, no secondary types, so pure grass, pure water, pure fire, and all three are generally well-rounded sweeper Pokemon. For the first time in a while, all three of them kind of fill the same role with no real gimmicks about them. Grookey and Scorbunny are physical sweepers, Sobble is a special sweeper. I have a video going over all three more in detail and deciding who really is the best. However, there's plenty of flying and fighting Pokemon to help even out your team. This game has a fair amount of water Pokemon at the beginning of the game, and this game has a good amount of grass Pokemon as well. It's your option if you'd prefer a grass Pokemon or an electric one. If for whatever reason you decide that instead of having fun at the beginning of the game, instead you'd rather do a whole bunch of work soft resetting your game in order to get these three starter Pokemon in a slightly different color, well, you can't. These three Pokemon, your starters, are shiny locked. In addition to the legendaries in the game, these three Pokemon, you could reset your Nintendo Switch 10,000 times and they will never ever appear shiny. So just pick one and get on with your adventure. It's a shame too, because they made this very easy to soft reset. Like the amount of time to close the game out and then reopen it and bring you right here, and then you immediately see the Pokemon sprite. It seems weird that they would go through all that effort and then just making them shiny locked. And before jumping into the game, you have access to the options, which I recommend you look at now. You have the normal stuff like fast text speed and disabling battle animations if you so choose, but there's some new stuff like skipping giving nicknames, which just bypasses that screen altogether if you never ever use nicknames. The ability to skip movies on your second playthrough, autosave, and casual controls. Casual controls will respectively map Y, X, B, and A to D-pad up, right, left, and down. And by default, L2 and R2 both act like A, so you even have more convenience at your fingertips. The beginning of the game has a beautiful cinematic experience where you meet the unemployed version of your box legendary, and it really helps lay down the groundwork for the game. At the beginning towns, you can consider them a tutorial, but there's a lot of Pokemon there to choose from. And this brings me to a really important thing that you need to hear. Do not worry about evolving every Pokemon you catch in the early game, or the mid-game for that matter. Whenever I play through a new game, I always have 1, 2, or 3 Pokemon that I feel like are going to help carry the team, and the rest are just for evolutions, but do not be in that mindset. Once you reach the mid-game, the late game, and especially the post-game, between the routes in the wild area, you're going to find evolved forms of pretty much every single Pokemon that you're finding now, and stronger versions too. And you're going to have lots of rare candies and other options to help evolve them. So again, do not worry about evolving these Pokemon. Your main focus right now should just be on building a well-rounded team of Pokemon that you like. At the beginning of the game, you're going to get 5 Pokeballs and 30,000 quid from your mom, and 20 Pokeballs from Leon, so you're going to be able to catch every Pokemon on these routes no problem. And you'll see a bunch of Pokemon pop up. You'll also see random exclamation marks appear in the grass. This is a different encounter table than the Pokemon that are showing up in the overworld. Pokemon that show up in the overworld may act timid and run away, aggressive and run toward you, or they may be completely indifferent and not care what you're doing. In addition, these overworld Pokemon, if they have any gender differences, that's going to show up, such as Pikachu's tail or the lips on Wobbuffet. However, if it's a shiny Pokemon, that will not show up in the overworld. There will not be sparkles, it will not be a different color. You just need to encounter the Pokemon and then learn if it is in fact shiny. In addition, you may see some with a gold wave-like glow around them. Catch them. These Pokemon are guaranteed to have 2 perfect stats or individual values, IVs for short, and they may also have an egg move. Catching or defeating any of these gold wave Pokemon awards you a currency called Watts. This currency helps you buy rarer items in the wildlands, such as special Pokeballs and TRs. TRs are very similar to TMs, except they're like old school TMs, so they're one-time use. And the TRs are generally the more powerful moves in the game, like Earthquake, Hyper Beam, and Flamethrower. At the first town here, you can buy some cheap clothes to start customizing your character. You can also change the hair, remove the hat, and you have access to the Pokemon Center, which is also the Pokemon Mart. Now, new to this game is that the man on the left can change the nicknames of your Pokemon, they can delete moves that your Pokemon knows, and they can have them remember old moves. This is one of the best changes to the game. Not convinced yet? Alright, I'll cut you a deal. All of this is completely free. That's right, no more heart scales, and any Pokemon that you catch, that if it's a higher level, it can relearn any of the moves that it knew before it met you. As soon as you leave this town, you'll learn about a very, very important mechanic, glistening spots. In previous games, most items were in Pokeballs on the ground, not anymore. While there still are Pokeballs on the ground for some items, these glistening spots are a majority of the items that you're going to be getting in the game, and a lot of these spots respawn. You're going to see these a lot more in the wild area. After you're all set at Professor Magnolia's lab, you can now trade Pokemon. This is about 20 to 30 minutes into the game. So if you own 2 copies of the game and 2 Nintendo Switches and you want all 3 starters, you'll be on your way in less than an hour, so much better than the trainer school in Sun and Moon. And also at this point, you can now fish. You're given a fishing rod by default, and this is the earliest you could ever catch a Magikarp. My recommendations for Pokemon to add to your party in these early routes are Rookidee, a flying type that evolves into Corviknight, a flying steel Pokemon that gets access to some dark moves, Choodle, which is a water Pokemon that evolves into Dreadnought and gets the rock typing, perfect if you didn't choose Sobble, and Yamper, the adorable electric corgi that has a nice fill-in spot if you didn't choose Grookey. His ability also makes it so that if you miss a catch with a Pokeball, he'll fetch it and have it as a held item, and you can remove it off of him after the battle and save money. From here, you're going to be able to get on the train and off the train, and you'll be ready to explore the wild area. Yep. The big selling point of this game is this giant area, and you know what? It's amazing. This first area is split into about 10 sub-areas that all have different Pokemon. They also all have different Pokemon based on the weather. From your town map, you can hit plus and toggle the weather on and off. I'm going to be making a much more in-depth guide on the weather and how it affects the Pokemon in these wild areas subsections, so be sure to subscribe for more. You'll also get access to Pokemon boxes anywhere in the game, including the wild area. Selecting Pokemon on the menu and hitting R1 is going to pull this up. Swapping Pokemon in and out of the box will not heal them. For that, you either have to camp and cook some curry, or talk to the woman standing outside of the train station. Pro tip, inside of the station is a guy who sells you Pokeballs and healing items, as well as Pokédolls. This wild area is massive, and it takes a long time to traverse it on foot. Later in the game, you're going to be able to ride your bike so you can traverse faster. You can also ride your bike over water and access new areas, and you'll get fast travel to various areas of the wild area. A quick side note, you can now spend a couple of hours having fun in the wild area, or you could beeline it right for the place that you're supposed to go through about 30 minutes of boring story progression, buy the TM for False Swipe, get the ability to fast travel, then come here and go nuts. It's your option. I assume you're gonna run around the wild area and have fun without the things that make your life easier, and I don't blame you. In the wild area, you have full camera control for panning and a little bit of tilt. And this is gonna seem really weird for a Pokemon game at first, but you'll get used to it. Also, press in the right stick for a wider view. You're welcome. Now, as soon as you showed up to the wild area, you probably saw that big Onix. I mean, how could you not? He's massive. He's always there, and he's taunting you. If you encounter him, you'll learn about the term strong-looking Pokemon. This means you're not allowed to start the game and catch a level 30 Pokemon and breeze through the beginning of the game. No. Most Pokemon that are not in patches of grass are very strong and should be avoided at these lower levels. Or you can try to knock it out, because why not? You know, some people like to see the world burn. Doing so gets you some nice experience for your entire team, and don't worry because it will respawn later. This game uses a system that for every gym badge that you collect is going to increase the level of Pokemon that you are allowed to catch, and it will increase the level of wild Pokemon in these lower level areas. At this early point, you can adventure into literally any part of the wild area and run into a level 60 dragon Pokemon. However, the common Pokemon in the grass will start being strong looking too, and they'll wipe your entire team. Like, you'll come across a Zigzagoon who's level 45 and just wipe your team. So you can run around and look for helpful items like leftovers, but be warned, my dude. And lastly, let's talk about raids in the wild areas. There are max raid battles. These are signified by beams of light from the ground that shoot up to the sky. If you approach a glowing one, you can collect some free watts, which is nice, and the ones that have a beam coming out of them means that there's a raid. Raids come in 5 different difficulty levels, signified by the stars at the top left. At the beginning of the game, you can only find 1 or maybe 2-star raids. You can enter them by yourself or up to 3 friends or internet friends. If you have no friends or internet friends, there is going to be computer players to help you. You have no control over the computer player's moves, and they cannot Dynamax, only you can, so I suggest that you always do it turn 1. Raids are over after 10 turns, or if the raid Pokemon knocks out 4 Pokemon between you and the computer players, including it could just knock out the same one 4 times in a row. At this low of a level, these raids aren't really too hard to take down, which is good. So you kind of get your foot into the door and you experience it on the easier terms. And you most likely won't find anything too amazing, although I did find a Noibat with 2 max IVs. By the way, you won't be able to check a Pokemon's IVs individual values until the post-game and you get the judge function. After defeating and or catching a Pokemon in a raid, you get a bunch of items including experience candies, berries, and TRs. Again, these are one-time use TMs for the more powerful moves in the game. They'll be much more plentiful toward the end of the game, so do not hesitate to use a good TR on your starter Pokemon, Rookidee, or any other Pokemon that you're going to have with you for the rest of the game. After your first raid, you'll be hooked. I guarantee it. Until you get tired of how long the raids actually take and you turn off animations. And by the way, one of the trainers here might have a Magikarp with Hydro Pump. I just wanted to point that out. Neither your participating Pokemon nor your party Pokemon get experience from the raid. However, you do get the EXP candy, which should be much more than any experience you should have gotten. These experience candy are fantastic for getting your Pokemon's level up, or finding a brand new Pokemon, introducing him into your party, and then giving him the amount of levels that brings it up to par with your current Pokemon. You may also see giant purple raid den lights, and I have more on this in an upcoming video. Well guys, I hope this was some fantastic information for your first hour of playing Pokemon Sword or Shield. If you haven't picked the game up yet and you just watched this video, do me a favor, leave a comment down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. Until next time, Austin John out.